For me in particular, I believe that the industry chose me rather than me choosing the industry. I come from a very different background. I hold an MBA degree. However, with the help of upskilling myself and mentors, I have made a remarkable place in this industry.
I think I naturally transitioned in the disruptive technology 10 years ago. I was fortunate enough to work with an agency where I had an opportunity to work with various different companies at different sizes, where they are introducing a product that would disrupt the traditional industry that they were trying to leave a footprint. And I loved it because, and I still love it, because it makes you really push boundaries, question traditional process, question traditional standards, question traditional methods. And I love that. I love the creativity side of it. I love the mission behind it. I love the vision behind it.
Well, I kind of stumbled into this role since it was my first career job out of college. But I very quickly realized that I have an important perspective to provide. Even when I was 21, joining the company, I knew that there was that perspective missing, and I was kind of excited to bring that to the table and hope to continue doing so.
I'm a firm believer that to create a thriving and sustainable community, we need to empower youth with education and the tools they need, especially women. Tech industry is one of the fastest growing industry, and just the thought of working with these creative people who are using the latest tool was the biggest inspiration for me.
I never really thought about women as a minority. I've been in business a long time and probably consistently been in fields where women were a minority. I never gave it a second thought.
My career in tech started because I really needed a job. And I saw a tweet that a local software company was looking for an assistant to the CEO. And I applied to the job and bothered him every day until they finally made the decision to hire me. And I saw an incredible opportunity of growing in this niche and, getting my career started.
So I want to talk about my experience here at Fusemachines. When I first joined the company, my knowledge about AI was limited. However, my manager, who I consider as my mentor, gave me hours and taught me about the basics of AI. And to top that off, the team leads that I work with regularly made me understand what they do in the day-to-day project. And today, with the help of the learning from my mentors and team leads, I am able to handle all the escalations of my team, which consists of 60 AI engineers.
So to describe one particular positive experience is such a challenge because I've had so many that it's really hard to pinpoint. I think I was really fortunate to work with people and for a company that see women equal and that the diversity is there. I also think that your line manager is a big influencing factor in your experiences, and if you have a dotted or a direct line with the CEO, you're really fortunate. So if there is anybody who is venturing into any industry, regardless if it's disruptive or not, and you're a minority, regardless of your gender or your sexual orientation, you should find companies where their values are about diversity, where their value is about providing equal opportunity.
This being my first career job, I can speak to it. Being Samir's executive assistant at 21 years old, right out of college, he really wanted to help me and knew that I wasn't going to be his assistant forever. And over the years, he started having conversations with me about what I wanted my future and my career to look like. And he gave a lot of his perspective on things that I was good at and would really push me towards those experiences, and in a lot of ways fostered that for me until I really believed in myself and had the confidence to do so. But it was really cool to know that the CEO of a company believed in me even at such a young age.
Regarding a particularly positive experience, I used to work in a government agency in my country, and the director of my area made a point to hire incredibly talented women and impulsing their career in tech so that they had a way to create opportunities for them to learn and continue to grow in this field.
I've seen Fusemachines grow from a team of 50 people to 320 plus employees with a global presence. There is a large presence of women in leadership role. That itself is a very positive experience for me. The company encourages innovation and has an open door policy. We as a team have access to collaboration and mentorship all the time.
I have particularly few points that I want to talk about. First, you should constantly upskill yourself because technology is moving day to day. Second, you need to be optimistic, you need to be confident, and you need to make sure that your voice is heard well.
Yeah, I think I very quickly realized that the workplace is a very emotionally intensive place, and things can happen that feel very personal, and you really just have to remove yourself from those situations personally and realize that it's a space where a lot of different people are bringing different life perspectives to the table, and there's a lot of conflicts that can arise and people react to those differently. And so being able to remove yourself from those emotionally and, look at it from an objective stance has really helped, solve problems and be able to move forward in a lot of situations.
It's a really good question, and I think it really comes down to really understanding yourself, knowing where your area of strength is, your areas of weakness, areas of improvement, because that really grounds you, that really sets the foundation, and it helps you navigate through the noise, through the mayhem, through moments of disruption, turbulence, whatever you're experiencing emotionally during, circumstances that make you nervous or scared or even paranoid. The only person who can help you get grounded is yourself. So my recommendation is take a notebook and create those 3 columns: strengths, areas of improvement, and areas of weakness. Because when you really know yourself, then you can navigate through anything and be able to handle people or circumstances in the best way that you can. And remember that everyone comes to the table with something unique and something valuable. And when you know what you're worth, then that's all that matters. And don't wait for anyone to tell you. You should be able to unravel that yourself.
An important lesson that I learned is that just because they are the majority, it doesn't mean they're right. Another lesson that I learned is to ask many questions, be super curious, because there's always something new to learn.
As a young starter in tech, I think you just have to be very resilient. You have to be open to take risks and come out of your comfort zone. If you can, you should find a mentor who can help you throughout. You are in the fastest growing field, so you need to be open to learning new things and exploring new ideas.
Do what you do best, be honest, be direct, work hard, and hopefully it pays off.
Regarding the challenges I've faced, there were many situations in which my opinion was dismissed because I was a young woman. However, I stood my ground and made a point across and insisted until I was heard. I feel like being persistent always and speaking your mind is one of the key components of success in this area.
I remember I was introduced to this inventor, and it was explained to him that I will help him with all of his marketing initiatives, from lead generation to strategy to go to market to all of their digital assets, everything and anything you name, all of their marketing initiatives, because this is something that they didn't have and this is something that they were struggling with. And as soon as the introduction was done, the gentleman just looked at me up and down and said, "What do you know? You're just a woman." And I remember it took me not a couple of seconds, but it took me a couple of minutes to actually process what he had said and how I felt when he looked at me up and down. It took me a long time because I wasn't subjected to that. So I was kind of shocked. When I understood it, in the context of it, I was really shocked and upset by it. And I had to think about how I wanted to approach this, because the opportunity was, great. But then at the same time, I had to be really honest with myself and ask myself, do I actually want to work with a person who's just treated me that way? And it was a really hard question to answer. So going back to like my passion and the integrity of the work that I do, it really came back to that. So I was like, if I'm working with this type of person and this is how he's treated me and we haven't started working yet, will I be able to deliver the best that I can? Will I be able to be creative and innovative as best as I can? Can I be relaxed? It really will come back to those kind of questions, because only when you feel safe, only when you feel comfortable, only when you feel inspired, can you actually reach your full potential or achieve success through whatever project that you're working on. I really believe this. And because I was being really honest about the situation with myself, I realized, no, I can't. And I think that was more important to me than the actual opportunity. And so the next step was, what do I do? Because no one trains you to handle these kind of situations. When I think about it, no one teaches you. So I think for the first time in my life, I said no, especially in that circumstance. I said no. And no as in, I'm not going to do this project, and no, I'm not going to work with this person. And it's a really hard decision to make, especially if you're like me and you like to help people, you love to, you're a people pleaser. It's really hard. And giving myself that permission to do it, like that, it's not even the permission, the empowerment to go forward with that decision is hard in so many emotional and mental aspects of it. And vocalizing it was the other hardest part. It's like, okay, I've made a decision, I'm going to stand by it. And obviously, again, if you don't have the training, if you don't have the experiences, there's a lot of fears and insecurity that could surface. It's like, how can this damage me? What can come out of it? Because I guess I never reached out for this type of help, and I wasn't sure if I could get help. But when I think about it now, the only help I should be seeking, or the only support I should really first be depending on, is myself.
Naturally, I'm in a very emotionally driven role as a director of people. I'm constantly thinking about everybody in the company and how people are going to think, how people are going to feel. And I think, that's caused a lot of emotional labor, which I love. It's like something that I love doing. But naturally, I think I've taken on a lot of things that could be considered emotional labor in the company. And I have to remember to take care of myself outside of the workplace, because it can be really exhausting. I think other people see me as that person, and sometimes I have to take a step back from that when people expect that from me. And the advice that I would give to others is to remember to take care of yourself outside of the workplace. And if you feel like something is being asked of you that maybe isn't necessarily your job, but feels like others are expecting from you, to voice that if need be.
Fortunately, I've not faced any situation as such. I was blessed to have good managers and colleagues around me. However, if someone faced similar situation, I suggest they speak up and they put this forward to relevant people.
It's a hard question to answer, because I actually don't think I've experienced gender bias at Fuse at all. I certainly did when I was in financial firms. but I have not experienced that at Fuse in all the years I've been here. So in terms of advice, I think you be who you are and know what your goals are. And as I said, just be honest, be direct, and work hard.
Yeah, I would say that early on in my career, I experienced very crippling imposter syndrome. And I didn't understand where it was coming from because I've always been a confident person with a strong personality. And I mean, it was crippling, like very hard to do my job. Was very tired from feeling those feelings all the time. And I would like others to know that if you're experiencing that, you're not alone and it's very normal. And I do believe that with time, you kind of get over that hump, but you have to power forward and stay true to yourself. Like throughout that process, don't sacrifice the things that make you who you are and make you unique for the workplace. Really lean into those strengths and, feel confident bringing those to the table, but it takes time and you have to be patient with yourself.
I think it's not just for women. I think it's anybody who is a minority. Regardless of what your gender is, what your ethnicity is. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. Really know who you are. Really understand your areas of strength, your areas of improvement, and your areas of weakness. Because that knowing, that understanding helps you build a shield and wings, right? And it helps you go into situations or circumstances where, regardless of how disruptive the situation is or how challenging people are, it will help ground you, and it's the foundation that you stand on. And also, what's really important is to surround yourself with supportive people. Let it be your family, let it be your friends, let it be mentors. I know that when I think back to like my professional and personal growth, I was so lucky to meet such amazing men, from like my teachers to professors to friends to colleagues to line managers to people who are really inspired. They were actually the men in my life were the ones who helped change and shape my life. So I am so grateful for them, and I always look forward to working, meeting, and being inspired by them. So there are men out there who are willing to help you and inspire you. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am, for sure. And so find your support system, know who you are, and definitely, work on your skill set, read tons of books.
Well, I think the hardest thing is to know who you are and what you want and where you want to play in terms of the business world. I think once you can figure that out, it's not so hard, but figuring that out is hard. And it takes time and thought and energy. But give yourself the time, the thought, and energy. Figure out who you want to be and then go for it. But stick up for yourself. Don't be bullied.
So being a woman should not be the reason you put yourself back. Be confident, speak up for yourself, and while you are in this journey, constantly upskill yourself.
And an advice I would give young women is that as women, we need to be assertive and stand our ground. You need to believe in your power, apply for that job, learn that new skill, and be fearless, and you'll be successful.